Now let's, oh, these earthquakes are something else. Here's USGS for all magnitudes for the last 24 hours. It's 1,439 earthquakes worldwide. So that's flipping me out. And normally we see about 200 worldwide for all magnitudes. But I've never seen anything like this. But the majority of them are down there in California. And of those 1,439 earthquakes, 156 are 2.5 magnitude or higher. And the majority of those are down here in that California area. But we can see a lot of these larger earthquakes popping up all around this western Pacific and also across over here on the continents. So let's get started. Okay, we've got a 4.0 at Searles Valley that's about to come off the map at 5:45. It's now 5:36 Pacific time on July 5th, 2019. Look, all of these are Searles Valley and Ridgecrest. And so let's go. But they're coming in faster than they're dropping off the map. That's how come we keep getting more and more and more on the map. So I just wanted to show some pictures, some screenshots that I've saved from USGS. This was at, what time was this? Can't see the title when I blow it up like that. Hang on. Let's do it like this. There we go. This was at midnight, right after midnight, 12:47 this morning. This is in that Searles Valley area. And we're showing 645 earthquakes here. And 878 worldwide. So that was at 12:47 this morning. Then this picture is from 6:32 this morning. This is Pacific time. It's after I got up. And we're showing 952 earthquakes in this area out of 1,176 worldwide. So it went from midnight, from 887 worldwide to 6:30 to 1,176 worldwide. And then I took another screenshot at 12:32. Wait, no. Where's my time on this? 7:23 this morning. And it's showing 1,002 earthquakes at Searles and 1,232 worldwide. And then this one was at 8:15 this morning. 1,050 at Searles and 1,282 worldwide. And then this one was at 9:06 this morning, and all of this stuff started at 9:07 yesterday morning on July 4th. And so 24 hours later, at 9:06, there were 1,098 earthquakes right here in this Searles area, on the viewing area here, and 1,323 worldwide. I've never seen anything like this, and I'm not seeing it slowing down. And so today at 5:40 p.m. now, it's 1,441 earthquakes worldwide and 1,217 here in the last 24 hours. So since 5:40 last night or yesterday afternoon, and so they keep coming in as they're dropping off the map. They keep coming in, is what I'm saying. So it's just not stopping. And we've had some larger ones here today. We've had I think we've had some 5s. We've had a lot of 4s. And you can see that it's spread out over the whole area here. Yesterday it was more, but it's kind of in this backward L shape, and it's the way the terrain goes. There are mountains over here, and this is kind of a little valley area. And so if let's change our setting to 4.5 magnitude for the last 7 days. Okay, that's what's happened here. The big ones here. We started with the 6.4 at Searles Valley at 10:33 yesterday morning. And then there was a 4.5 at Ridgecrest at 10:35, 4.6 Ridgecrest at 11:39, 4.6 Ridgecrest at 11:56, 4.5 Ridgecrest at 12:21. These are all yesterday. 4.5, Searles Valley. Okay, and this one was Searles Valley. So 4.5 Searles Valley at 3:12 yesterday afternoon. And then there was this 5.4 that came in at Searles Valley at 4:07 this morning. In addition to all the others. But those are the big ones, 4.5 and higher. So it's still just blowing me away. Kind of speechless at that, but anyway, we've also had up here on the northern end of the Juan de Fuca plate, we've had 3 more earthquakes come in, and right up here is where we had that 6.2 yesterday as well. There was a 4.7. They're calling these near Bella Bella, Canada. This came in at 5:51 this morning. A 5.6, same area at 5:58 this morning. And a 4.6, same area at 6:02 this morning. So with these large things, so we're seeing movement of this Juan de Fuca plate, and it's sending movement all the way down through this San Andreas fault line. This is the Cascadia subduction zone that if this goes, we're in big trouble. And so people need a plan. They need an earthquake plan. They need a spiritual plan, because I expect to see more of this kind of activity happening, and maybe even bigger. Probably even bigger. So anyway, let's move on. Up here at the end of the Aleutian Islands near Kamchatka, we've had 4.7 at 9:14 this morning, 4.6 at 9:48 this morning, 4.9 at 11:09 this morning, and a 4.3 at 11:24 this morning. And all these times I'm telling you are Pacific times, because that's my time zone. Here off the coast of Japan is a 4.4 near Nami at 4:26 this morning. Then down here, 4.5 near Kota Ternate, Indonesia at 2:35 this morning. Next is this 5.2 in the Banda Sea near Tual, Indonesia at 12:59 this afternoon, 97 kilometers deep. Next, on Papua New Guinea or Indonesia, we've got a 4.3 near Abepura at 10:52 this morning, 93 kilometers deep. So that's still showing activity. And then down here, 5.0 near Hihifo, Tonga at 7:08 this morning, 5.1 near Pangai, Tonga at 11:38 last night, and a 4.9 near Ohonua, Tonga at 3:09 this afternoon. Then we had one south of Australia on this red line, this fault line. There was a 5.1. They're calling it Western Indian Antarctic Ridge. That's just due south of Australia. This came in at 4:56 this morning. So a lot of them coming in around between 4 and 5 this morning. Okay, next we've got two off the coast of Sumatra. Here's a 4.6 near Sungai Pinu, Indonesia at 2:40 this morning, and a 4.9, same reporting station at 2:52 this morning. Then we've got one in the middle of the Bay of Bengal, a 5.0 at 10:08 this morning. So this is east of Sri Lanka, which is this island to the south of India. So it's to the east of the southern Indian tip. And then we've got 4.7 and also in the Bay of Bengal, 4.7 near Akyab, Burma at 9:46 last night. Then we have one up here in Poland. We don't see them here very often. 4.7 near Polkowice. I don't know how to say that. At 11:41 this morning. And South America is quiet. Mexico is quiet. So those are all of the international earthquakes. So let's go now to yeah, we're on 2.5. Let's go to all magnitudes now, and let's check on Hawaii. We've got 10 here today. We've got a 1.7 near Waimea. We've got 2 right in the crater of Mauna Loa, a 1.9 and a 2.0. Here's one, 2.2 Pahala, 1.8 Pahala, 2.4 Pahala, 1.9, and a 2.2, both at Pahala, but they're in the ocean. And then, okay, we saw all those. We've got one right in the smack dab of the Kilauea crater, a 1.8, and then one on the flank of it, a 1.7. So that's pretty good activity over there. Now let's check out the Caribbean. This is very quiet. We're only seeing 3 here today. Here's a 1.7, 3.1, and a 1.5. So with all of this shaking going on in Southern California, it's probably taking the pressure off of some of these other places where we normally see more earthquakes. Now let's move on up into Alaska. Well, I didn't want to get those Canada ones on the map, but I can't help it. So we're showing, including these 2 from Canada, we're showing 97. So 95 of those are Alaska from all magnitudes. So let's see how many of those are 2.5 magnitude or higher. There would be 13 in Alaska. 4.0 near Amukta Island. Here's a 2.7 near Unasca. Here's these were stacked up. 2 3.3s near Kodiak. And we've got a 3.1 near Cantwell, 2.7 near Talkeetna, and then up in the northern area we've got 6 larger ones here in the Koktovik area, 2.9, 3.5, 3.2, 2.9, 3.0, and 2.7. So that's all of the larger ones up there. So let's go back to all magnitudes and zoom in on these. We've got a couple in the armpit here. You can see the number has gone way down since yesterday here in the Cook Inlet. We're still seeing them lined up along here. But right along here is the old Iliamna and the Redoubt volcanoes. So we're still seeing them lined up there. Here's Anchorage. Anchorage only has 4, not too big. This 2.2 is the biggest one. But we can see the movement kind of fanning out. Here's a 2.0 at Willow. I'm just looking at some of the larger dots. There's that 2.7. Here's a 2.4, and so on. So it is fanning out across the state. Here at Kobuk, we're showing 16 here today. And these are ones. The highest are a couple of 1.9s, and the rest are under that. And then up here at Koktovik, with all magnitudes, we're showing 16, as opposed to, well, whatever we saw, 6, that were the larger ones. So 10 are under 2.5 magnitude, but it's just not much under. Like here's a 2.3, here's a 2.2, 2.2, so a lot of 2s. And then we had the 2.9 and 3.2 and so on. So that's enough to show quite a bit of movement, I would say. Now we saw these 3 off the coast of Bella, Canada. Now this is Vancouver Island, and it's just off the coast of this northern tip of Vancouver Island is where we're seeing those. Now in the lower 48, I'll give you the number here. We're not going to count the Canada ones. We've got 1,312 here out of 14. Well, it just went down. 1,308 out of 1,437. So some of these are falling off that were on the map yesterday. So they're falling off because these were rocking and rolling. And so we've got some that came in at 556 yesterday that are about to fall off. We've got 1, 2, 3 right here. And then here's one at 557, 559, 559, and so on. So we've got some that are just about to fall off the map. So that's why you'll see these numbers fluctuate. They just go up and down all the time, just depending. Because they're coming in as they're going out. Okay, we're going to start down here in Oklahoma. We've got 4 here today. 1.3 near Stroud, 2.0 near Holdenville, 1.8 near Cushing, and 2.4 near Moreland. And then up here in Kansas was a 3.1 at Plainville. Next, coming on across, we've got one on the border between Arizona and Utah. 1.4. The reporting station is Hilldale, Utah at 7:22 this morning. Then Utah is quiet. Let's see. Okay. Yellowstone is very quiet. We've got 2. A 0.5 Virginia City and a 0.9 at Manhattan. And then coming on over into the Pacific Northwest. Not counting those two in Canada, or 3 in Canada. We've got 7 here today. We've got 2 at Amboy, right there, which is at Mount St. Helens. So I'm just going to call these off. A 0.2 and a minus 0.1 at Amboy. And this depth is a minus 1.3 kilometer depth. So that means the epicenter of the earthquake is up in the mountain or the volcano, and the magma is moving up in the chamber. And, well, we already saw Lincoln, Montana. We'll take that one off. Here's a 2.1 near Olympia, Washington. That came in at 5:53 this morning. A 1.3 near Topanish, Washington at 9:48 this morning. 1.6, and down here it says 1.7 near Mattawa, Washington at 10:08 this morning. 1.4 near Eatonville at 11:31 a.m. and a 0.9 at Eatonville at 12:58 a.m. No blasts, no explosions. On the tremor map from yesterday, which is the latest data, they're showing 60 tremors, 60 epicenters. And we're showing quite a few on this northern end of Vancouver Island. Oops, wrong one. And so here's where those tremors happened, and then straight across we've got these 3. So the tremors they show movement. This is the movement that happens before an earthquake happens. It's movement of the earth. Now these are in southern Washington. And then we have tremors to the west of Salem, and then a whole grouping to the west of Medford. So that's where they're grouped today. Now let's come on down into Northern California, and we're showing right here at the end of this Juan de Fuca plate, at this fulcrum point. This is the San Andreas fault line. This is Cascadia subduction zone that we're watching so closely. There was a 2.3 near Rio Dell at 10:22 this morning. And then there were 2 at Willits, a 1.6 and a 1.1. And pretty much straight across from that, there was a 0.5 near Spanish Springs, Nevada, but it's kind of in that Pyramid Lake area. It's in the mountains around there. Let's go ahead and do the geysers while we're over here. We're showing 26 here today. I want to see if any of these are 2.5 or higher. Yes, there's a 2.5 here. So here are the geysers, 26. One of those was 2.5, that was the largest, and then the rest are under that. Here's a 2.1. Most of them are 1s and under. Here's some 2s. Here's the 2.5, 2.0, and so on. But this is a more average number of what we see here on a daily basis. Here in the San Francisco area, 1.2 at Pleasant Hill. Here's a 1.9 near Bonnie Doon. It's in the ocean. 1.6 San Juan Bautista. 1.6 Tres Pinos. 0.9 Pinnacles. We've got 2 at Grapevine, 1.9 and 1.7. We've got 2.0 California City, 1.3 Vincent. Here's one in the ocean, a 1.9 near Coronado, and a 2.2 Searles Valley. And we can just see how it's all just clustered up and it's moving out. It's not staying in a nice little neat line there. So, not counting the Searles group, in Southern California we have 25 today. So that's kind of a low number. We're used to seeing about 30 to 35 to 40 on a daily basis, or 50 even down here. But I'm thinking with all of this going on, it's taking the pressure off of what would normally pop up here in Southern California. And these are small, these are ones, except for here's a 2.2 Searles Valley, that's a higher one. And the rest are ones and under. And we're going to come back to this last and cover everything else. Here's a 1.9 near Beatty. And here in Nevada, in southern Nevada, we've just got 4 right down there, 4 small ones. And then we got one down here in Hawthorne, a small one of 0.8. And that's all for Nevada. And then we've got one on the border here, a 1.2 Smith Valley, 1.9 Bridgeport, Mammoth Lakes, we've got a 1.9 Tom's Place, 1.7 Dixon Lane Meadow Creek, and then here at West Bishop and Round Valley we've got 3. There was a 3.3 at 4:12 this morning, a 0.2 at 4:23 this morning, and a 2.9 at 6:43 this morning. So that 3.3 is higher than we normally see there. And then here's a 1.9 near Beatty. And then here's our cluster here. And I think that's all of them. So I've just got my screen up on this area. I just have it up all day long and I'm watching this number change minute by minute, and you can pretty much sit here and watch it change. And now we've got 1,215 here and 1,434 worldwide. Now it's 1,218 here and 1,437 worldwide. Here's a 2.8 at Little Lake that just came in. Here's a 2.0 California City, 1.1 Johannesburg, 1.3 Fort Irwin. These are all in the vicinity. 1.3 Trona, and so on. Now if you zoom in, I showed you guys yesterday. If you didn't see my show from last night, you need to look at it. And this is part of the China Lake Navy weapons testing area. China Lake has a big base there, or the Navy has a big base there at China Lake, and it's super top secret. And so, I'm wondering if maybe there's some kind of scalar attack going on, or something to cause this, and especially since it's not slowing down. I mean, I've never seen numbers like this, and I've been reporting earthquakes since December of last year, so I'm pretty new at it, but I've never seen this. Never, ever, ever. Here's a 3.0 that came in at 5:51. Here's a 3.6. I'm just calling out some of the larger ones at 5:51. Here's a 2.7 at 5:18. I mean, they're literally coming in at seconds apart. Here's a 3.0, 5:15. And some 2.8s, 3.5, 5:13, and so on. It's a lot of 3s, a lot of 2s, a lot of 1s, and I'm not seeing anything under a 1. It's mainly, here's a 0.7, I take that back. Very rarely are we seeing anything under 1. Here's a 0.9. They're mainly 2s, and the 2s and 3s and mid 1s range. So now we're at 1214 and 1437 worldwide. Here's a new one. 1.6 Tres Pinos. I don't know if I called that off. Here's a 2.1 at the geysers that just came in. Here's something. Here's a 2.1 near Puerto Rico that just came in, and so on. So that's it for the earthquake part of our show.